Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. And this week's Headspace is called Candace Owens is sued by the Macrons for calling Brigitte Macron a man. So before I jump all over this Headspace, which is called Candace Owens is sued for calling Brigitte Macron a man, I wanted to say that I have reached a major milestone with my broadcasting career. And thanks to you guys, me for doing the work, and also for you for appreciating it. I've now reached 1,800 people on my YouTube channel. And I'm really pleased about it, primarily because I only started posting in earnest on the 7th of February. And since that time, it's just been, I post on a regular basis, and people like my stuff, especially the Raw Corner. And I've moved from, I think I had 59. I had 59 in February, and now I'm at 1,800. So to me, that is really fantastic. So I just want to say huge gratitude to everyone who's listening to my podcast, enjoying my work, liking, commenting, sharing. And also, people are making donations as well, which is so lovely. I really appreciate that. So thank you for all of the support. And I'm going to just keep on doing it. And you keep on doing your bit too. Right. Let's jump straight into Candace Owens is being sued by the Macrons for calling Brigitte a man. So if you don't know anything about this, you've probably not very familiar with independent media, and you are, more likely getting your news from legacy media, traditional, corporate channels. Therefore, this is going to be framed for you in a particular way, even that's presuming that you are aware. So for those who aren't aware, Candace Owens is probably the most famous African American commentator in the global north. And the reason I say that is because she has so much traction, and also there is only one black woman of that prominence with that platform that I think there is, and it's Candace Owens. She's a political commentator. She's on the right of the political agenda, and her last corporate role was with The Wire, where she no longer is working, and she has her own channel where she is very successful, and she has in excess of 2 million followers. She has done a series called Becoming Brigitte, and the series investigates the question around the origins of Brigitte Macron. The nub of her investigations is that Brigitte Macron transitioned to being a man in his 30s, and during that period he became involved in a relationship with a minor, which was Emile Macron. As the story goes, Brigitte was a teacher. She was 39, and Emile Macron, Mr. Macron, he was 14. So already, even if you don't agree with the online narrative, the questions of a predatory adult and a child have to feature considerably in your consideration about this story, given the facts that I just shared. So Candace Owens has a series. She also has a book, and the book is available on Amazon. And in the course of the book, she lays out the case as to why she believes that Brigitte Macron is in fact someone called Jean-Michel Trudeau, which was born a man. She gives evidence that he transitions, and this conversation is being had quite considerably on independent media, and I've noticed it's broken through. And what she is saying at this precise point was that she learned of herself being sued over defamation claims, and I think it's also online bullying, which I think might be interesting, when she was reading it in the newspaper. And she argues that she was never given the lawsuit. The lawsuit was delivered to the mainstream media, and she learned of it in that space, and as a consequence of that, she sees this as a PR exercise. She doesn't see it as a serious question around proving defamation in terms of what she is saying about Emile Macron's, and I'm calling that individual his partner. So this issue began over a year ago, and this series has been running for a while. Let's just have a little listen to what Candace has got to say herself, because I think this is really interesting. And what's also interesting is the length to which questions about the First Lady of France past is absolutely closed down.
It is time for you to wake up. So we will start from the top here with a photo of Brigitte Macron. Real name, Jean-Michel Trogneau. That person that you are looking at on the right is not a woman. Okay? Here is a photo, by the way. Just over the years, Jean-Michel Trogneau, as he became Brigitte, as I said, the evidence for this is overwhelming. That second photo, I believe they found a photo of him at a pride parade when he was just living as a homosexual man. That next photo is when the transition began, if I recall correctly, and that's a photo from the professor years. And the professor years of Brigitte Macron, I believe she's a man. How many more times can I say it? How many more ways can I say it?
If Brigitte Macron was born a woman, why is the French government acting like the truth is a state secret? Candace Owens has put her reputation on the line by making a bold claim. Brigitte Macron was born a man. This accusation, if false, could be easily debunked with a single statement from the French government. Yet, instead of a straightforward denial, Macron's team is doing everything except answering the question. A simple, yes, Brigitte Macron was always a biological woman would end this discussion instantly. But that statement has never been made. Instead, Macron's legal team sent a 100-page document filled with legal threats, citing defamation and the supposed mental anguish caused by these claims. But here's the catch. Nowhere in that legal response do they actually state the obvious. That Brigitte was born female. That Brigitte was born female. Why dance around the answer? Why not just say it? This isn't just about Candace's claim anymore, it's about the reaction to it. If a statement is so outrageous, wouldn't the response be immediate and firm? Instead, what we got was panic, legal threats, and an attempt to silence the conversation. And this silence extends beyond the Macrons. France's mainstream media is noticeably avoiding the topic. French journalists who have no problem investigating powerful figures suddenly seem terrified to even touch this story. The question is, why? Candace isn't accusing Brigitte of anything illegal. She isn't attacking transgender people. She's simply asking, why the secrecy? If there's no truth to these claims, why is the government acting like a cover-up is necessary? Adding more fuel to the fire, Candace sent 21 direct, simple questions to the Macron team. These were not complex conspiracy theories, just straightforward, yes or no questions. Among them, is the girl in the widely circulated communion photo really Brigitte Macron? Did Brigitte ever go by the name Veronique? Why are there no confirmed school photos of Brigitte? Has Brigitte ever been pictured with her alleged brother, Jean-Michel Trogneau? Macron's team could have put an end to this by simply answering them. Instead, they ignored every single question. And that's where things get suspicious.
The reason I wanted to share those questions with you is that because another creator made reference to those questions. And I think the questions around the suing of Candace Owens is a smokescreen. It's a smokescreen so that you don't ask the questions as to why a potentially transgender man was working in a school and his child allegedly was in the same class as Mr. Macron, and his teacher then had a relationship with that same child, abusing their power and their position, and the media framed the relationship as something, a love affair that endured all odds, as opposed to a predatory individual preying on a child in another child's class. So I don't know how this is actually going to play out. What I do know is that there is going to be discovery. And presumably the questions of DNA evidence submissions and proper biological testing. I presume that's going to be a prerequisite in the case. I don't know. But if I were being sued on the grounds of not potentially mental anguish, or whether or not if I am as I say I am, then I would just want to put it to bed, wouldn't I? Very, very quickly, like most people would do. But the difficulty is, I don't think you can put to bed a well-constructed gaslighting narrative, because you have to maintain keeping that gaslight lit in a particular way. And I think that's what this is about. I think it's being framed within the context of an attack on people who are transgender. And I think that's just a red herring, because the question is, if most people now don't have transgender ideas in their mind in a negative way, that, that conversation, in my view, is not as it was, 10 years ago, 5 years ago. So I don't think that's the question. I think the question is the question of secrecy. And later in that video, apparently, when President Trump's house was raided and he had classified documents, there was apparently intelligence on the Macrons and their personal life, which Mr. Trump alluded to having and using as leverage in negotiations in things to do with France, which I thought that was also interesting. And in addition to that, the lawyer that the Macrons have utilized in this defamation case is someone who has a known track record of defending pedophiles, basically pedophiles and people who are involved in incest. So that's where we are with the case. I know some people look at Candace Owens and they want to pigeonhole her in a particular way so that they don't have to pay any attention to what she says, because she can then be dismissed as a conspiracy theorist, someone who doesn't support black people, someone who is a Trump supporter, all of which allow you to shut down your mind and also not give that person any space to put forward their thoughts. But I think that you shouldn't just automatically dismiss people. It does mean sometimes you have to entertain people that you wouldn't necessarily entertain, but it's worthwhile listening. And that's where my head is with this. I think that more and more people are becoming aware that this smokescreen of illusions that we have in relation to democracy, history, culture, science, all these things are being broken down. So you have everybody questioning everything, which is a right thing to do, in my opinion. You shouldn't just accept things because, it's been done like that. It's custom and practice, and we've been told like that the whole time. So that's what I think is happening with this case. I don't know how it's going to end, but I do definitely know that the French First Lady is far better resourced than Candace Owens. So it might be a case of, trying to tie the matter up in court, or just having a performative exercise in the press to diminish and, for want of a better word, just take the wind out of Candace's sails and suggest that she's a crackpot and all the rest of it. But the point is this: more and more people don't believe in the facade anymore. And more people are concerned about the type of leaders we have and their predilections and also their deviances, which clearly there's quite a lot of it. And that's one of the reasons why this story, I think, is taking root, because of the mistrust in institutions and the mistrust in our leaders. Don't forget what's happening in France, everybody, okay? Macron lost the election. He's put in jail his opposition, Marine Le Pen. Whether you like it or not, she's moved out of the race, which effectively means they are the leading party. And the people who won the election, Mr. Mélenchon, the election was robbed from them. So you have got for want of a better word, an illegitimate government in France, because it's not the government that the people voted for. Mr. Macron appointed somebody, and he worked with the right wing to outflank Mr. Mélenchon's party so that he remained in power. So the reality is you have a system where democracy is just a facade, and it's bent for those individuals to maintain particular power positions and their ideas about what the world is going to be like. So that's my thinking. So will Candace be able to weather the case, and will she win? I really don't know, but I tell you what I do know: she is going to be very well supported, and I think the Macrons, despite their PR program, I think this is going to be very damaging for them. So what's your thoughts? Had you even heard about it? Do you know anything about this whole idea of transitioning and effectively not sharing with people that you're transitioning, and then presenting yourself to the world and burying your history and creating a false narrative about yourself? What's your thoughts about that? And do you think that this is an isolated issue? Do you think the idea of this kind of secrecy and this kind of deception is just unique to this particular case? Or do you think that this is something that's more widespread? Give me your thoughts, your 3 pence, your 2 cities, or your declining dollar prize. Don't forget to make a donation at denisehedley.com, and I'll see you next week and cut.